Did you have any general thoughts about the offense? Because I think we'll spend some time on the defense, but did you have any general thoughts, non-quarterback related, about the offense?
So I thought that there was some good stuff on offense. I believe before the spring game, Marcus Freeman said that he wasn't going to look at the quarterbacks when the or take into account as much their performance when the offensive line, the twos for the offensive line, or we're going to go against the seconds for the defense. And I got to be honest, I just did not feel after it seemed like he did put out like the true offensive line, the main unit, that group held up as well as I would have liked it to. I really felt like Notre Dame was getting home in a lot of in the spring games, and like you said, we'll get to the defense in just a second. But I felt like the offensive line wasn't really as sharp. I thought it's different in the run game when we don't have Jeremiah Love out there. The running backs were decent, they were good. Wide receiver wise, I mean, it's tough to guard Greathouse in that open field. Felt like he was sharp. Eli Raridan impressed me. I feel like he's not really the former 4-star, the guy coming off of 2 torn ACLs. I felt like he was sharp. I thought he was reliable. He only had a couple catches, but I thought he was pretty good too out there. We'll see what that tight end room ends up looking like. Elijah Burris, I believe, was caught one of the touchdowns too.
Yeah, he flashed. He looked good.
Yeah, I thought he looked pretty good too. I thought maybe I would learn a little bit more about who could potentially be that other receiver that joins Greathouse,
We
Fields, and
weren't finding
Foley.
that. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, because Fields wasn't there, and obviously Faison's not there. He was playing lacrosse. They're playing Virginia over the weekend, and he's in a lacrosse game. He's not at that, but like. Did you want to see more from KK Smith? I mean, I don't necessarily think I
yeah, that was
need.
the one of the guys that I had specifically said I
I mean,
thought
you got
last week.
three catches on 4
Yeah, no, I
targets.
mean it wasn't bad. Also, I definitely feel like it should be noted too whenever you have like there's certain springs where you have two quarterbacks and then like one maybe like incoming freshman, or like a more of like a walk-on kind of player, like not a scholarship guy. But they had a true rotation of those 3 guys, and I think sometimes you can see who has the most chemistry with a certain quarterback. And
Yeah.
then, when the other ones come in, maybe they kind of fade, or, they're not like the same exact player. Kenny Minchie was running plenty in the game, and, maybe some of the wide receivers weren't really adjusting to that, just depending on who it was. No, nobody specifically with that, but yeah, I definitely would have liked to see a little bit more from that
I
group.
would
But
have
I
I would
did
have
think
felt
KK
better if
Smith
like
wasn't bad.
Cam Williams had like a monster game or
Yeah.
something. But like realistic, and Elijah Burris looked good, and supposedly he's been looking great all camp. But I don't think that really matters for 2025 how good Elijah Burris looks, because I don't think that he's somebody that's going to impact sort of the meat of the schedule, which is front loaded anyway. So in the whole receiver room in general, this room's been questionable for going on how long now? I mean, when was the last time you felt truly good about the Notre Dame wide receiver room?
I mean, I was almost going to go back to like thinking about like Claypool, maybe.
It's Claypool, and it's probably 2018.
Yeah, that feels
Right?
like it's been a long time, and we were
Because
talking
the
about it during the recruiting segment where it felt like getting that guy at the next level would be so crucial to this offense. But in the same vein, like you mentioned, we got like 3 guys who are going to be regulars in the fall that weren't out there either.
Yeah, I mean, there were bodies down, and even the guys that were like Greathouse is not out there doing. He's not out there to prove anything. He's got a spot. Yeah, it was probably 2018 team when they had Miles Boykin. I mean, even the stats are pretty. Miles Boykin went for 872. Chase went for 639, and Chris Fink had 571 as the top 3 wide receivers. The next year, Claypool had 1,000, but the next highest receiver was Fink with 456. I mean, like.
And we knew Fink was like limited too with what he
Right.
could actually do when he was out there. Yeah.
Love Slippery Fox, but he's not your number 2 wide receiver. And then the next year, 2020, I mean, they didn't have any depth or rotation. It was just the 3 guys that they had were the 3 guys that they had, led by McKinley. yeah, so I don't think that they've had a. I mean, you can even go back to maybe 2015 because Equanimous St. Brown and Fuller and like the Admiral's kid, Torrey Hunter, like it's been a while since those kind of names have rolled through there. So when it comes to the wide receiver position and anything out of the spring game, I hope somebody would flash, but it's not like I expected it. This room basically has to show me in the season before I start getting super excited about it.
Yeah, and also, we're talking about the wide receivers. That wasn't to say like that the running backs also weren't very good either, though. I don't want to also just have that to be a throwaway comment either. So I might have to circle back to that because I felt like, Price and Williams, they weren't bad either.
I thought Price was phenomenal. Yeah.
I think what did he average? He had
7.3
6 carries. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
6 for 44. And the big part about it, and like the funny thing about Jadarian Price that dawned on me as I'm watching this game is if Jeremiah Love wasn't on this football team and it was just Jadarian Price and we didn't know about Love, we'd be pumped.
Oh yeah,
Jadarian Price is a stud in his own right, and like most seasons could have started for Notre Dame playing football. Like it's if Jeremiah Love gets hurt, God forbid.
Oh yeah,
the drop off to Jadarian Price isn't something that would keep me up at night because Jadarian in his own right is a stud, and like it's funny that to have that, and even if let's say Price could Aeneas Williams is good,
yeah,
right, and Kendron Young is going to be good. So I don't have any the running back room for where it's come in the last 6 or 7 years too. Like the recruiting and the development of the running backs, this is about as good a running back room in America as anywhere. So
I would honestly go as far to say I haven't really looked too much at the specific depth charts of a lot of other schools, so I know it might be a big claim, but I would say it probably is the best running back room, at least returning. We don't have any incoming transfers. These are all guys who were here last year. That room is really good. I'm seeing some comments too, just coming in about the wide receiver production, saying that it does come down to just the quarterbacks and the fit, and then and how they end up playing. I felt like all the quarterbacks were pretty sharp still, but it's one of those things where it's you're going to need to also have that bona fide QB1 before you can potentially be taking some of those next steps. So definitely not all on the receivers. I'm curious. I wanted to go back to the tight ends really quick before we get to the defense. What did you think of the tight end room and what they had to offer?
Well, a big thing for me is Eli Reardon looks like he's going to be a guy, right? Is that's what we've been told all throughout the spring, and he had 2 catches for 21 yards. One of them went for 15. But then also you saw, and it was kind of funny when CJ Carr was in the game, targeting Bauman and making it a point to get the tight ends involved. And that's something that, for as much as I loved Riley Leonard's game, in the end, I had to come around to it and just accept, what the limitations. And one of his limitations was that he really didn't focus on tight ends. He didn't do it at Duke. He never had a tight end at Duke really go for more than 25 catches in a season. And Mitchell Evans was hurt, to be fair, but seeing the tight ends get back involved in tight end U is nice.
Yeah, and Jack Larson, also the freshman, he had a pretty decent, he had a pretty decent game
2
too,
for
right?
41. Yeah,
2 for 41. And if I can remember correctly, he had a over the shoulder grab too at a certain point in the game, and I thought that was really impressive. I think the tight ends are definitely something to just be happy with. That was, like you said, a big question mark. We just didn't know for sure. And then be able to get through spring camp healthy and seeing those guys And hopefully CJ Carr, if he is a starter, if he's not the starter, one of the quarterbacks can continue to get them involved. And because they're just too talented not to, right? And we're talking too much about like the receivers and what they can bring. Well, tight end's also another receiving position, right? Like, and they have to be able to produce. And those guys, I thought, all played pretty well.
And a big part of it as well, like if Kevin Bauman and especially if Eli Reardon stays healthy, yeah, that's exactly right. Go Irish Nate. Eli Reardon is a dude. Came in sort of known for his athleticism, and from what practice reports I've heard, and from what the coaching staff has said, he is a willing and very capable blocker, which I wasn't sure was going to be a part of his game. And it is, and that makes him into a 5-tool tight end. Like he can block, he can run routes, he can catch, he can, a very exciting player if he can stay healthy. And then if Bauman stays healthy, having, I imagine that, Notre Dame is going to want to run a lot of 12 personnel. Because that's just been a Denbrock staple is having 2 tight ends. And if both guys stay healthy, and then you're getting Flanagan back, and it's just very excited.
Maybe we could potentially see like a lot more production from that room to help the wide receivers and however long it might take them to get up to speed. Let's move to the defense then. Carson Hobbs, I thought he was great.
I thought he was great too. And that was one of the guys I tagged in the pre-show as one of the ones I was kind of excited to see, because I'm not sure if he's going to obviously he's not going to start the season out because Leonard Moore exists and Christian Gray exists. But like we had said, that safety net, if a guy goes down, like what's your first we talked about it on our first ever show together. We talked about that 2018 Clemson game, and it was an injury to Love in the secondary that just sank that defense, and Clemson scores the back-to-back touchdowns thrown against his replacement. And having a healthy guy to step in there, because even you look at this year and having Leonard Moore ready because Benny Moe got hurt, and having a capable, not your nickel, but having a capable third corner in there it's super valuable. Yeah.
And he had one of the picks too as well, right?
I thought
he did.
The intervention. No, Ben Minich got the pick. Yeah, I mean, anybody could have caught it. It was just it was for all the good of CJ Carr. Like there was no one there. And
clearly saw the arm talent from him, but he tried to force that one in. That one in. I get that. Yeah, I thought Bryce Young was pretty good too. In the first drive, I believe he had a tackle for loss, and a sack as well that ended it. So I mean, was there any like kind of doubt in a sense, right, that he was going to be any good? But I thought that.
I guess I wanted to see some confirmation bias on him, right? Yeah. Like I want him to be very good, and then when I see him, like that's one of those ones where, like you had said, hey, when we're talking to the receivers, like wish somebody could have popped off, and nobody really did. And like at the same time, from that rush position, I wanted in the spring game to see if somebody would pop off, and then sure enough, sacked Angeli. I mean, Bryce Young was Angeli held onto the ball a little bit as he is apt to do, but I mean, yeah, very excited about it.
I just thought the pressure that they were able to get was so impressive. I just felt like the defense just got so much pressure, just separate. I felt like it was there for all of the quarterbacks. Obviously, Kenny Minchey was able to get away from it a little bit, but the actual pass rush for this Notre Dame defense to me really, really stood out during that game. Kind of threw them a little bit off balance at times, but the Notre Dame offense felt like it was in sync for a good portion of the day. Maybe not always getting points, but there was so much back.
They were able to move the ball,
yeah,
like consistently move the ball. And to be fair to the offensive line, right? I mean, they were down like 3 guys on the O-line who probably might be starting in Miami. So, I mean, it was already a mash unit. So that's to be fair to them, because Gerby's down, and yeah, they were starting, not the guys that will be starting in August.
No, yeah. I mean, we saw a few of the potential starters or definite starters still out there, but yeah, like you mentioned, yeah, the offensive line certainly had some struggles. I did want to go back to the Freeman comment. I do think I remember him saying something along the lines of to not judge them too much. So we'll definitely have to do that. But I felt like this team was really able to do a lot of different things defensively, despite it obviously being kind of more of a vanilla game from them, just schematically. And despite maybe some of the injuries, some of the guys who weren't there as well, I thought it was good. And then, forcing some of the turnovers, being able to wreak havoc, get to the quarterbacks was really impressive. Sometimes it's a little tough to gauge whenever they blow plays dead and they say, hey, look, it's over, or like the quarterback's scrambling, but we all know that was a sack. But at the same time, they were able to get to the quarterback a lot, and I felt like the offense wasn't able to pick up some of the blitzes and different things like that. And I want to credit the defense more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Ash comes in and immediately his defense gives up 70 points in a game. It's kind of embarrassing, but
Yeah.
Putting that terrible performance, obviously tongue in cheek. I don't know. I my biggest takeaway from the game, more so than because a lot of the things about the offense was the quarterbacks, and then the other part was like who's not there, because there were more who's not there than there were theirs. I mean, the quarterbacks weren't getting the ball snapped by their center, in fall camp. They didn't have their normal, left tackle wasn't, and they didn't have right guard as well, was out of commission, and you're just look at the wide receivers and Faison's out, and Great House is limited. So but defensively, I mean, how good are these linebackers?
Yeah.
It just the two deep of the linebackers. You could take the two deep and put them on any Notre Dame team from like the mid-teens, and they would stand up. Maybe Jalen Smith bumps them, but put them on the 2016 team.
I also felt like
2016, they might win a few more games. Yeah, I just
Kingston.
KVA is
Yep,
Kingston. KVA is phenomenal. Snead's going to be good. Even somebody like Zinter would be an absolute player on a lot of Notre Dame teams in the past. But I other than the linebackers, the big one for me is if Jaden Stroman thought he was coming to Notre Dame in the fall to have a safety job handed to him, he is going to now find himself in the thick of a fight, because Luke Talich can play. Ben Minich can play. I feel really good about that Oppo spot next to Adon Schuler. What do you think about the safety?
I would agree with you. I think that the coverage in this game, and then just based off of what we were hearing leading up to it, that the guys out there are playing well, and it's gonna be a fight. It's gonna be a battle. And we mentioned the transfer portal at the very top of the show. I don't know if we'll see any dominoes fall within the next week, maybe in that secondary, but it's definitely something I'm going to keep an eye on. But yeah, I agree. It's going to be a fight in the fall, and I just this defense was able to hold their own. And you mentioned KVA. I just felt like him also just that the linebackers impressed me. It was really like at all three levels of this defense, were just able to get kind of what they wanted. I mean, it wasn't like a dominant performance. I certainly don't want to say that too much, right? Because you mentioned like the offense was able to move the ball up and down the field, but in a bend but don't break kind of situation, I felt like this defense kind of rose to the occasion in certain moments that I thought was really interesting, really good. The coverage was tight, forcing CJ Carr, who was having probably one of the best days it ever looked like he had on a collegiate football field, end up throwing something that he probably shouldn't have thrown, just based off of the pressure, maybe held the ball a little bit too long, maybe should have got out of the pocket, something. I think that is also just a major testament to this defense and to the secondary and to the pass rush.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, it's not like they're allowed to do anything exotic. It's not like they're doing stunts or a whole lot of shifting. So, I mean, it's a pretty vanilla defense. And they say a lot of times in the spring ball, right, the defense is usually ahead of the offense, and the defense looked good. And I think that that's one of the things that I was encouraged about the offense as well, is that even though the defense was vanilla, it did get their pound of flesh.
Mhm.
Um, the offense acquitted themselves pretty well. And the whole operation, as far as the players, the talent level at Notre Dame has increased so much, and Marcus Freeman's comfort level in running this practice, this glorified practice, and it's night and day from just where we were at as recently as like the start of the Marcus Freeman era, where we had like you know the Tyler Buckner's anointment, right? With Drew Pine backing him up, and it's just, you look at where we are now and just the way that the whole operation and the talent level, like the offensive line is replenished and stocked. The defensive line is flashing. The linebackers is an embarrassment of riches. I've never known a Notre Dame secondary as deep and as talented as this one is.